What is up, Chicken and Rice family? We are back again with our What's Happening Wednesday. We got a really interesting lineup of topics today. Again, you already know who we are at this point, but if you're new here, I am Sawan, and that's my handsome cousin Sean over there. Um,
Go. Say the name. Say the name.
Sean,
Say no.
cousin Sean,
Say the name.
cousin Sean. Sean can tell you this new name that he's using now. Go ahead and tell them what you want to be
You
called.
you can't even say it.
But it's not fun when you agree. So, eh.
This is Pretty Boy Sean. Pretty Boy Sean. All right. Go ahead and continue.
So I'm Sawan, and that's cousin Sean over there, and we are going to jump into the very first. I mean, we just got to start this thing off with just such a beautiful thing. The Alabama brawl. Oh, I mean, can we just take a moment just to be like, you know what? Oh, now I do not condone violence most times, and but this was just a beautiful moment within our community, just seeing us come together after we have had so much division and fighting amongst ourselves and just internal community nonsense, about this, black women after black women, black men going after black women going after black men going after. It was just so beautiful in this moment, despite the violence and despite, what caused the nonsense. It was just beautiful to me to see us come together. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, if you haven't watched the news or again aren't on social media, there was a security guard in Montgomery, Alabama that was asking a boat of white people to move their boat or whatever, and it was improperly docked. And where it was docked was where I guess the bigger ships come in to park, and so they had a ship out on the water that was bringing a bunch of tourists in or boat riders in to dock to let them off of the boat, and the couple refused. The people refused to move the boat, and so basically it just pretty much escalated from there. The security guard, I guess, attempted to move the boat or push the boat, and then that's when, the head guy, whatever, I don't know his name, I really don't care, but I guess he decided he's gonna push him and all that, and then the family came in and jumped in and were jumping on this brother, and you know, and see that's what I have a problem with. But before I get into that, they jumped on him, and then our people showed up and showed out. That's just basically what happened. I mean, we just came from everywhere. We had the young 16-year-old brother that got jumped off the boat and swam over there to let him know to stand up for the cause. And so I was so incredibly proud of my people for sticking together, not necessarily for fighting, but for banding together. And that was such a beautiful moment for me. What were your feelings about that? It almost brought a tear to my eye, you
I
know.
mean, the first thing that came to my mind was Avengers Assemble.
Yeah,
Um,
the memes. Oh, the memes. We will insert the meme. The memes are just and this in the folding chair, and oh man, the memes are they're awesome. They're awesome. Yeah.
and I'm gonna say this at least one more time during this particular episode, but the audacity, right? Since when do we not listen to security personnel?
When we have the complexion for the connection or the complexion for the protection.
Exactly. When do you not do what a security person tells you to do?
When you feel that you are privileged, when your skin has led you to believe that you have all the privileges, and then you also are in Alabama, and you're using the energy that state holds, and the history that state holds, is that no black man is going to tell you what to do.
Right. And
Yeah.
and and then no, and then you get out in a boat to attack you know what I'm saying, the person who is paid to tell you
Mm-hmm.
movie. That is this brother's job. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the right to not do what this brother is paid for you. This is not your doc.
No. And you're there illegally. You ain't even supposed to be there in the first place. That was the thing that got me. And then my thing is, if he and the brother are fighting, which is bad enough, the fact that all of y'all came in and jumped on this man. You know, that I don't subscribe to that. You know, I ain't a violent, I don't believe in or condone violence or whatever. But if you are in an altercation, I believe in a fair fight. If it's one-on-one, that's one thing. Now, if it was a group of brothers or something jumping, you're this white guy, you're whatever, then that's another story. But it was a one-on-one fight. And so for all y'all to run in and start, the women and everybody start kicking and punching and doing all, I'm just like, that was ridiculous. And so, the person who deserves the ass or people who deserve the ass whooping got them. And, it is what it is. That life lesson was taught and learned in that moment.
Yes. So my final thing to say on that is study your chair jitsu. Okay.
Get you one of them folding chairs. Get you one of them Alabama slammers.
Yeah, one of them Alabama slammers. Okay. And always be looking for the black hat up in the air.
Okay.
See that black hat up in the air. You know what I'm saying? When you spot that thing, you are being called.
It is time. It's like the bat symbols. The bat signals.
All of a sudden, my chair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get your chair. Yeah, practice.
You know what I'm saying?
But on the flip side of this, everybody's thinking this, but what we do know is that it's going to incite a whole bunch of, supremacist supporters. They're like their company in this, because you already know that all the folks that, the supremacists, the people that hate Black folks and stuff are going to donate to their cause and blah, 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 blah. So that's on the flip side. But in the moment, I felt like it was a win for Blacks, because it proved and showed us that we do what we can accomplish when we band and stick together, that we, in the end, we do have each other's back. And that's what I want the takeaway to be from this, not the fight itself. Yeah.
Before we move on, what kind of negative light would we be painted in if the roles were reversed?
Oh, we already know.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets. What kind of, you know what I'm saying? What kind of role? How would it have been reported? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it took forever for it to be reported.
Right.
Because it was viral on social media for a few days before the news finally picked it up. And the mainstream news, it took a long time for them to pick, because, if it would have been the other way, it would have been on the news that same day.
Yep.
But I guess that's one of the good things about social media. Another thing that is trending on social media, which I just really don't understand this whole situation. I don't know. Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the alleged shooting. I don't know what happened of Meg Thee Stallion. I don't know. The whole thing was weird. Did he shoot her? Did he not shoot her? Did he shoot at her? Did he shoot at the ground? I don't know. I didn't. It was too many different stories coming out and versions of it. Then her best friend was testifying that he didn't shoot her. And it was so much going on. I don't know what the truth is. I guess the only people that know the truth are the people that were there. But ultimately, he did get sentenced to 10 years in jail. And a lot of people are saying part of that is his own doing, because he wouldn't keep his mouth shut and kept taunting her, I guess. Or I don't know. They said he was saying stuff. I don't know. We only talking about it because it's trending. But Sean, what are your thoughts?
I wouldn't say this was a bizarre case, much in the same kind of vein of OJ. OJ would be probably the most bizarre case of our lifetime, But this Tory Lanez trial is of that kind of same vein. This is a bizarre case because, like you said, we'll never really know what happened that night. And
Mm-hmm.
the testimony that we received, okay, and the Gayle King interviews, and it's like nothing none of these testimonies made any sense. Okay, it
Mm-mm.
sounds like tall tale, right? This sounds like something that you would read in a comic book, and I
Yeah.
know because I read comic books.
Oh, we know.
You know, okay. This is, and like you said, did he? I mean, did he shoot her? We never got the answer to this question. Did he shoot her? I mean, did he shoot her? Did he shoot in her vicinity?
Was he
Okay.
shooting at something else, and then something with the, what was it that hit her foot exactly? Was it a bullet fragment? Was it
Right,
some rock? I
right.
mean, what glass? Like, what was it? We don't know. I don't.
And,
Yeah,
and he
I don't
got,
know.
and then he got 10 years. Murderers get 10 years. The people, I mean, all those that are alive seem to be alive and very well.
Yeah, and then they had released a statement that he accepted his sentencing or what. I'm just like, so yeah, that he accept that he yeah that he accepts the the consequences in a nutshell what he was saying. I'm like, so because if I didn't do it, I'm not releasing a statement saying that I accept the sentencing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I didn't do it. I didn't shoot her. I'm not gonna say that. That's just, I don't know. I don't know.
Gonna say I
Maybe
was
this is a way for him to get some street cred for his next album.
in
I don't
10.
know. But they be releasing music from prison. But he if he got money, there ain't no telling. He might not even do. He probably won't do 10 if he has a decent. If he, I don't know how much money. I don't know what his net worth is, but if he has a decent amount of money, he probably won't do much time. He'll probably be on parole or whatever for the majority of his time. If he got some good money, because if you got money, you can pretty much buy anything in this country.
10 years is a
For
long
bullet fragments. Yeah,
for,
for bullet fragments.
for a scar on your arm.
But it was a foot that was hurt.
Or a scar on your foot. You know what I'm saying?
And it was just, I thought it was like fragments. It wasn't even like a whole bullet. It was like, child, I feel like I'm losing brain cells talking about this, and I'm about to lose even more brain cells on this next one.
Come on. Yeah.
Because this just feeds into what we were talking about last week, about these children. So there is a rapper named Lil Tay.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was she's alleging, and her team are alleging that somebody hacked her social media account. Insert my favorite meme, my favorite
Yes.
yeah, right
Yes.
here. That somebody hacked her account and said she had died. She and her brother had passed away. Yeah. And I had seen something about this, you first logged onto your computer, like the homepage, it has the news, and I saw something about I didn't know what a Lil Tay was or who that was. I just saw that she looked very young. And I was like, oh man, that's unfortunate, quick prayer, for the family, blah, blah, blah. And I moved on. I've never heard of this girl before. But it just sounds as another bizarre thing. I just don't, but it's screaming attention. It's screaming, this is how I'm going to get myself on the map. Because until now, most of us haven't heard of her until now. So maybe this was the objective, is okay, well, now they know who I am. But like you said last time, but there's no such thing as bad publicity, is what they say. So maybe this is an example of that.
So my takeaway is this is an inside job through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when you discover a hack in normal situations, those things are normally very apparent, okay? Mm-hmm. And they are, for the most part, addressed right away.
Yeah.
This story ran for 3 days.
Especially, they also said she's a social media influencer. So if you're an influencer, that means you are constantly on your social media account.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you miss that?
Yeah. No.
And she's young. I think we don't know. I couldn't even find a Wikipedia page on this girl. She probably will get one now. But right. But like, it was even nobody could say exactly what her age is. I guess they're saying 16, but I don't know. But as I said, at 16, you are always on you're always on social media.
Right.
You're always on social media at 16. And she looks like the type, just from the pictures that I've seen of her taking pictures, holding stacks of money. She looks like she's average, young person. And, younger generation, they like that attention. And so this is, like you said, I agree. This screams inside job. We're going to make sure that everybody knows you after this. And look how much attention Carlee Russell got for that thing. Let's try something similar.
Right. But that's
not funny.
That seems to be the new vein now. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's paying attention to me. I'll go away. I'll make you prove how much you love me. You know what I'm saying? This is sad. This is a mental issue. This is crazy. And like I said, it's not funny, and it wastes a lot of resources, all for you to show up and say, oh, you know what? Nothing happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here. And I don't actually, what I'm saying? I don't really check my social media accounts. The lies.
But I'm a social media influencer.
But I'm a social media influencer that don't check their social media.
That don't use social media to influence.
Right.
Okay, girl. Okay, girl. But that's all I got for her, because I'm not about to make her any more famous from this show. So yeah. This is an older I want to say case or whatever, but this happened way back in 1951. Our next topic. The family of Henrietta Lacks is filing I guess they're going to file another round of lawsuits for the unauthorized use of her cancer cells by Johns Hopkins University. Now they have a really they don't have a really good reputation these days. And before I get back to Henrietta Lacks, there's a special on Netflix called Take Care of Maya. And Johns Hopkins was at the center of this case where it was a family. If you haven't seen it, you want to see it, you might want to skip ahead, a few, because I'm going to spoil it for you. But it's still very interesting. Where they had a young girl who had a rare disease, and because they hadn't heard of it and they weren't familiar with it, instead of just saying that, they basically accused the family of abuse and kept her separated from her family for months. And so it was to the point that her mom was so emotionally distraught from being separated from her child that she ended up committing suicide. And so she but they were at the center of that. It's a really interesting but sad documentary. And the family is still, going back and forth to try to settle that lawsuit. I think they finally are supposed to be getting a date sometime this year. I think September of this year, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just very interesting is that they are always at the center of some kind of controversy. It's just interesting that they. But anyway, so they saved some of her cancer cells without her permission. She was diagnosed with cancer, and they used the cancer cells, as a source of the HeLa line, which is used for the medical research of cancer and stuff, things of that nature. And so the family has sued before, and so that's what they're doing. They're filing some more lawsuits. I think they have Ben Crump as their attorney. So he's gonna get it done. He's a really, really good attorney. But it's just so interesting and infuriating that just how disregarded we were back then, and still are in a lot of areas as Blacks. Just to think that you can take somebody's cells or whatever, and without their permission, and just do what you want to do with it. It's just amazing to me. And they're still being used today for research. That's the crazy thing about it. They're still being used. This is way back in 1951. Took it, and we're still using it. And don't feel we got to pay for it. You got to sue us in order to get compensated.
Well, that just goes to show you how amazing Black people are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
These cells. Okay, she died. Henrietta Lacks died in 1951. Is that correct?
I believe it was she was diagnosed in 1951. Oh. I believe I'm not sure when she passed away, but she was diagnosed.
She was very young when she passed away.
She was 31.
31
years old. And,
yeah. Both of us outlived this woman.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But they stole her cells, okay? We're talking about over 50 years, and her cells are still viable. Okay? Yeah. The cells of a Black woman.
Yeah.
Okay. So Black people, if you watching this, we are special people.
Yeah.
Okay? And we are special.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This brings on so much. It brings on for me
right?
The organ donor thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is one of the attorney they had the attorneys for the family had wrote this, and they said medical research has a long troubled racial history. Mm-hmm. The exploitation of Henrietta Lacks represents the unfortunately common struggle experienced by Black people throughout American history. Indeed, Black suffering has fueled innumerable medical progress and profit without just compensation or recognition. And so with this, the organ donor thing, I have a hard time with that, because I don't know where my organs are going to go. And, God forbid something happens to me, and I'm wanting to, I don't have a say necessarily in where they go, if I'm deceased. And I just with this kind of information, it makes me not want to be a donor. Because, I've heard, stories. There aren't any, anything documented, of course, but there are lots of stories out there about, ambulances allegedly taking their time if they know that you're an organ donor, or you're we're going to just take our time, or the doctors are going to, take their, it's stories out there about that. How true it is, I don't know. But in this day and age, I won't put anything past anybody. But yeah, if they know that you're an organ donor, then okay, we're going to take our time so we can make sure that they pass, so we'll have a good kidney or a good heart to give to, homegirl over here, Elizabeth over here on the donors list, stuff like that. This is the kind of stuff that makes me not trust the medical, the medical industry when I read stuff like this. And so it's so sad and unfortunate. And, God bless her. Because, she has afforded a lot of us, this country so much research. And I'm sure
Yeah,
it saved so many lives because of her contribution, even unknowingly, her contribution.
right.
But that
We, we
that
got good
just
genes. Black people have good genes.
oh, absolutely.
Okay. We have good, strong, viable genes. We are very, very special people.
If you
And
don't believe that, watch Get Out.
that's it. You stupid. You are stupid. But but like you said, this just brings up again, black people versus, the medical industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an industry.
Yeah.
So, um, a lot of, what I'm saying, a lot of people you know, in our community want to put in place these home remedies and eat this and eat that, which is all fine, but at some point in time you need to go to the doctor. You
Mm-hmm.
need specialists for things that you for illnesses that you can't eat away.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I'm saying, but if you know what I'm saying, but it's going to be hard to make that visit if you think that, what I'm saying, what you thinking you're drawing blood for some test results to find out what your cholesterol is, okay? And
Yeah.
then they turning around and studying that and trying to make some super drug.
Yeah. But just even with
Yeah.
basic medical stuff, Blacks history with, you think about what was it, was it the Tuskegee
Mm-hmm.
Airmen where they were injecting them or they had syphilis or whatever. I can't even, and I don't even want to get into that because that just infuriates me. But we don't have, which is the huge issue when they came out with the COVID vaccine, because we don't have the best rapport with, the medical industry, and then particularly being a Black woman, a lot of times they don't believe, uh, they have this belief, a lot of white doctors, whether they want to admit it or not, have a belief that Black people experience pain differently than white people,
We have a
and
high
a
for
higher
pain.
tolerance for pain. And so when you're saying that you don't, that you're having pain, a lot of times they don't believe you. And so I had that issue as well, because I have a bunch of herniated discs in my neck, and it went, and I have a very high tolerance for pain, and I don't think that has anything to necessarily do with me being Black.
Right.
I think I just get it from my dad, because my pain level is that I'm taking could probably be debilitating for somebody else who's taking on
Yeah.
the same kind of pain. It just depends on the person, not on the ethnicity. But at any rate, but I remember that being one of the things, and then that always being in the back of my head, um, because they think I'm there to score drugs, or I'm trying to get,
Yeah.
the get these narcotics and things like that. And it's like I don't even take that stuff as prescribed. And it was so nice to have to find a doctor, finally a group of doctors that actually figured out what was going on, and then got in there, looked at the MRI and been like, yeah, the way that this looks, there's no way that you could be, they didn't say it, but but from the imaging, they knew, yeah, this is painful. And I even have my current doctor, that he even told me, he even saw it in me. He said, I already can tell that you play your pain down a lot. So he says, if you're coming in here and you were telling me that you were in a lot of pain, I know you have to be in pretty much some pretty good pain because you always play it down. And so, that was very touching for me. And it's just sad that had to be a moment that was touching, is that for actually to have somebody believe you. Because I went several years without, just take time, and it's not working. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're afraid to say, hey, this isn't working, because now I'm afraid that I'm going to look like a junkie or look like somebody who's trying to score pills when actually in actuality, I'm just somebody who's trying to live a pain-free life or get as close to pain-free. Because even with the medication I take now, I'm not 100% pain-free. It just makes it tolerable.
Yeah.
But that's my little spiel about being Black and dealing with the medical industry, because it can be a lot. It can definitely be a lot, and it's unfortunate that we have to have that kind of outlook whenever we're going to go see the doctors. Like, you still have to think about your race in the back, especially if you're in pain.
Right. Yes.
And then
Yeah.
the whole opioid thing was not a Black issue, really. That we weren't the ones that were popping pills like that. And so it's like, because now that it's hit, the suburbs, now it's an epidemic. Because I remember back in the day, and everybody remember back in the day, they would prescribe narcotics and stuff, Vicodin
Right.
and all that stuff, like they were Tic Tacs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're in pain. Oh, here's. I mean, they used to give you refills. Oh yeah, here's 3 refills.
Yeah.
Now you can't. For me to get the medication that I get, I have to come in once a month, pay my copay once a month just to get that particular medication refill.
Yeah.
That's how serious it's become. But anyway, before that draws long, we're going to get into our next and topic, and we're ending on a really positive note with this last one. We are coming up on the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. And the actual date was August the 28th, 1963 was, that march. And so it's coming up on, but Reverend Al, Big Al, I guess he's Little Al now, but
He's really, really little Al.
not, not really, really Little Al, but but he is hosting a march, to commemorate the 60th anniversary on August the 26th. And so it's that's gonna be a huge piece of history. And I don't know, I'm kind of, my dad really wants to go, in honor of my grandmother and her siblings that have passed, because they were very big in the civil rights movement. And so yeah, that's a pretty big deal, and I'm honored to be alive to see the 60th anniversary. I do kind of want to go and be a part of it, but it's gonna be a lot of people there. I'm trying to find a little blurb about the March on Washington. So the March on Washington was on August 28th, 1963. It was the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And it's also known as the March on Washington or the Great March on Washington. It was held in D.C., and the purpose of the march was to advocate for the civil and economic rights of African Americans. At the march, final speaker, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial, delivered his historic "I Have a Dream" speech, in which he called for an end to racism. And so it's a big deal, man. What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on it?
So take a moment here.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the very first topic of this episode. Okay.
Alabama brawl. Yep.
We talked about the Alabama brawl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we talked about, what I'm saying, the attack and the feelings of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking about we're coming up on 60 years celebrating the March on Washington.
Mm-hmm.
A powerful, powerful thing happened there. Okay. A lot of people believed, not just Black people, believed that there needed to be an end of racism, and not just that, privileges, only reserved by by the rich.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just the attitude. One of the things that Dr. King was very adamant about is the treatment of people that was considered lower than us, poor people. Okay, his heart went out to those as well, and did not like the treatment that they were receiving. Okay, we thank God for what happened 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there are people that have forgotten what has happened 60 years ago, and then we get that Alabama brawl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's still there's still some work to do. There's still some minds to change.
Yeah.
Okay? We not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet. We still don't care for those that have less than us the way we should. Okay? That's not we can't be that way, especially those of us that call themselves Christians.
Mm. Yeah.
So there's, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of work to do, okay? And God's been around a whole lot longer than 60 years.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's just let's just remember, like I said, the work, the civil, you know what I'm saying, the civil rights, you know what I'm saying? If you're a black person and you working in the office and you got your own business, just think about, you know what I'm saying, that came on the feet of marchers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? That came on the feet of marchers,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I'm not sure about being president. I mean, I know it's a big it's a big deal, but oh child. I don't I want to, because I want to honor because my grandmother isn't here, my uncles aren't here to see this on this side, of heaven. But I don't know. I'm fearful because it's coming so close to, all of the Alabamas. I'm just fearful of somebody messing up or creating chaos during that moment. That's one of my biggest fears is that, they don't a lot of these racist people do not want us to have anything. And that's one of the reasons, me personally, going back to the Alabama brawl, is I feel that it didn't go mainstream as fast. For one, because the black guy wasn't the one in the wrong. And for two, for me, it's that camaraderie. I think that is a big thing, a big fear of us uniting because we are the most we're so segregated as a culture,
Yeah.
and so us, because that was inspirational to me, just because during my dad's, our parents' generation and on up, that was unification was just the thing. My dad used to say that you just would not walk past another black person and not speak. That was,
Right.
a sin. Now we walk past each other blacks, and don't say a thing. Almost irritated that the fact that there's another black person present, but
Mm-hmm.
it shows in that moment. And so that's what I felt personally, is like maybe that contributed to it. It's like, we don't want them to we don't want them to see that, them sticking together and blah 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 blah, because then now we're gonna put the batteries in their backs and what's gonna happen next. But yeah, I'm this that's those are two awesome things on today's topic that should make you feel proud as a black person. That should really make you feel proud, as being a black person, because it's amazing. I'm so proud of the skin that I'm in and my ancestors and their sacrifices, for me to be here talking to you, free.
Right.
We couldn't have done it without them. So thank you to my ancestors. So that's all we had on the list. We got through the list pretty quick today. It was, we had some foolishness there, a little bit of foolishness in there, but that just comes weekly, I guess. Every day is seeming now. We're gonna see who else has the next hoax next week. We'll see what the next hoax is.
Yeah, it's coming.
Maybe Carly Russell or Jussie Smollett or somebody will come up with something. No, you think they're done?
But Jussie Smollett, he should be quiet for a while. He
might be cooking up something behind the scenes. He might be working on something.
He should be quiet for a minute now. I hope he would have learned his lesson. But
maybe he was advising Carly.
Ouch. What, on how to pull off a bad hoax?
Yeah, well, his was bad too. So,
I mean, if we pulling off hoaxes, I mean, the last person that need to be teaching us is Smollett. But that is neither here nor there.
Well,
that is neither here nor there. Before we go into any more silliness, this is the perfect place to park this installment of these weekly updates and whatnot. We love this new format. We believe in it. Like and subscribe and tell your family about this, okay? Tell them to get their bowls, okay? Get them bowls out, okay? Because it's full of food.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I had rice the other day. Yeah.
See?
Yeah. And I was full.
Yeah. Well, I would just eat the rice part because I'm vegetarian right now. So let's get the rice. But anyway, y'all, again, we got another episode coming at you this week. Okay.
2 episodes coming this week. We got our Wednesday, our What's Happening Wednesday, and our traditional episode on Friday. So yeah, y'all getting 2 episodes a week. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get those likes up. Let's get those subscriptions up, and let's get these views up because this is good. We create good content. We just
Yes. And jump on the gram. Jump on the gram. All right. Let's do it, people. Let's do it. Okay. So once again, that is Sawan, who's actually very pretty herself. Okay. And then I am Pretty Boy Sean, and we will see y'all in a couple of days. We out. Peace.
I'm trying to block the camera. Peace out, you.